Now a Newton man says he feels vindicated. Noah Peterson was arrested twice after criticizing the police and the city during 2 city council meetings. Now a federal judge says those arrests violated his constitutional rights. KCCI's Marcus McIntosh is live for us in Newton, where he spoke to Peterson about the ruling. Marcus?
Ben, Noah Peterson says he was basically speechless when Monday's federal court ruling came down. But he says he will never forget where he was or what he was doing when his lawyers called him with the good news.
I was at work. I saw I was getting a call from my lawyer, answered it, said some choice words, some excitement.
Despite his excitement, the ruling from the federal court judge was one Noah Peterson expected.
I think it was just a slam dunk case.
Peterson says it all started back in late 2022. During public comment at 2 different city council meetings, he criticized the police department and the mayor. At one of the meetings, he called them fascists. He was arrested.
This video would be illegal if this drama don't stop.
Mouse.
Please do not be alarmed by anything you see or hear around you. You are bound to feel some initial ill effects as you've been rescued from certain death at an improbability level of 2 to the power of 267,709 to 1 against, possibly much higher. We are now cruising at a level of 2 to the power of 25,000 to 1 against and falling, and we will be restoring normality as soon as we are sure what is normal anyway. Thank you.
WDRN production staff may be considered complete works of fiction. Any similarity to reality is only due to the conventional risk and perspective forecast. Please adjust your perspective or text translator devices for enjoyable listening pleasure. WDRN can take no responsibility for improperly adjusted perspective or text translations and currently operating at the frequency of somatic 900 megahertz.
Hey y'all, using the agenda here. If you're an independent journalist struggling to get your story out, contact one of our mediators in our chat room for review. Get your story featured on the Hawk Ethernet Radio, part of the Wicked Development Radio Network. Last submission guidelines: video or portion must not be longer than 3 minutes. Only be played with a startup point of 3 minutes. All material submitted to WDRN is the sole responsibility of the submitter. All content is fair use practice. With your help, WDRN will rise to the top of all available news networks. This has been Confusing the Agenda.
Mouse.
There's a lot of people that are looking at the current drama going on between Denver and, of all things, Canada. And the biggest 2 problems that I find is these people have not been fully genuine in what they have done. They have gone out, they have annoyed, which is a good word, and is a recent word in this drama going on here. You see, we have Denver Metro Audits. Okay, let me bring him up here. And, whoops, here we go. And he's been well known. He was in part active with a lot of the things that Eric Brandt was doing and things like that. He's made a good and bad reputation for the auditors. Bad in the sense that he will combat anybody over the First Amendment. And it is not a goal being achieved here. It is a YouTube video being achieved here overall. And that's my opinion. You might have your own opinion. I still think that he's down the middle, kind of mediocre in his approach. Again, very combative, okay? However, at the same time, he has had successful audits, real ones that make a difference, okay? And we can all get pulled off of topic. We can all get fixated on a microscopic point. And I don't think that's what's happened here. I think that he is an exhibitionist. which is not an auditor. And an auditor isn't an auditor. We are a compliance check. We are checking to see if the government is in compliance with the prohibitions that is granted to them and mandated to them under the Constitution. It's granted to us and mandated for them. This reversal in roles have been playing a part since the 60s. We've been demanding that we have a right. It isn't a matter of having a right. It is a matter that they are prohibited. And this has gotten down to an absolute turn of events that can have catastrophic effect, not only for oversight, but an entire industry, including programs like OBS and broadcasting programs that we are using today, becomes illegal even for legal use. And that is what Denver Metro Audits has started. Once more, he has opened an international tort. Okay, international, meaning that Canada and the U.S. will be set by this precedent. And this is scary. I mean, this is as scary as you could possibly get. Now, there's a gentleman that has picked up on this, and I picked up on him just recently. His name is Louis Rossman. And he is not entirely 100% correct. He's doing some misquoting of the codes. Okay? I can bring that up, but it's what they refer to as a harmless error. It's still there. It's not 121. It's 1202 or something like that. Simply mischaracterized. And I think he also corrects himself at one point as well. So, but nonetheless, this is critical, folks. And due to this, let me show you what I'm doing. I'm showing the entire page as it is presented to the public. I am altering it. I am giving it my own narration. I may have to stop this several times in order to do this narration, in order to explain the consequences of what this man is describing. But I now have something that is over 50% modified. Let me go to the 51%. I'm also going to speed it up. All right? If you want to sue me, guys, fuck you. Go ahead. It's not a challenge. It's not this. It's not that. It's the fact that I'm walking down every piece of good practice for the news. And your actions are going to make it impossible, because it'll be selective criminalization only because you used OBS in order to be able to broadcast, or you use something else, and you do not understand how selective prosecution can play a huge hand in what you guys are messing with. It's absolutely nuclear. Listen to this.
I'm just going to give you the TLDR. You have a gentleman who runs a YouTube channel called Denver Metro Audits. He does First Amendment audits. First Amendment audits is this thing where you will have a camera and you'll walk up to the police or a public place or a public building or go into a library and you'll record and you'll see if you get in trouble. And the idea behind it is that I have a First Amendment right in the United States of America to film a public building. I have the right in the United States of America to film the police. And if you're not allowed to film the police, if you live someplace where the police can tell you, hey, you can't film us, stop that, that's illegal, that's tyranny. And I understand that. The First Amendment auditors may not always necessarily come across as nice and kind and caring, but they're there to try and check and make sure that your rights are intact. There are some people that go a little too far with it, that just are just doing this to fuck with people and get attention and create annoying scenarios for people that don't want to be recorded and be obnoxious about it. And that is where channels like the Frauditor channel comes in. Frauditor is a channel that is very highly critical of a lot of the tactics used by many First Amendment auditors, and he does not pull any punches. Now, there are valid points to be made on each side here. Again, I want to live in a country where I can record the police. So if you can't record the police...
All right, well, here's the difference of intention and motivation. And in the eyes of Frauditor, I can support him. In the eyes of Denver, I can support him. But I cannot support this petty conflict. The consequences of this is astounding. We're talking about entire industries. Your editor, gone. You can't use it. You can't use anything. You can't use it from the news. It could be immediately considered criminal. Selectively. Just simply because you're a dissent opinion. That's huge, people. And it's happening right in my own backyard. Once more, I have a personal stake in this. I have 4 months worth of programming effort that I've been doing to create a program that depends on OBS, that depends on VLC player, that depends on the ability in order to read videos that are currently online. Whether it be in part or in their entirety. And that's completely private use. It's not a commercial application for it. You can actually use it commercially, but you would have to use it lawfully. The same way as you would have to use a gun lawfully, a nail gun lawfully, a hammer lawfully, a knife lawfully, your speech lawfully. But they want to challenge the construction in what's going on. Listen to this man.
If they have the ability to take out their baton or just start shooting you when you take out your phone and record them, that's pretty fucking bad. Simultaneously, there are a lot of First Amendment audit channels that I see where it looks like some shit resembling like FuzzyTube circa 2015. It's a distasteful prank channel, and it's just fucking annoying.
We got Tyrant Hudson here. Hey, how are you doing? Last time, the douchebag. This clown right here. Freaking clown right here, man.
This is called provocation. That's the reason why I can't agree with this type of auditing. You cannot go out and provocate a response. You can't induce that response. That response has to be natural, or it's just all make-believe. It has no effect. It gets innocent people in trouble for having an opinion of their own. And that, my friend, is abuse.
Follow him around.
Where you stand on this type of content doesn't really matter to me. What matters are the legal arguments being used to try and get somebody's video taken down. So Frauditor is criticizing First Amendment auditors very often. And to criticize them, he has to show their content on his channel. So he shows the content on his channel, and he gets a takedown claim from Denver Metro Audits.
All right. Well, YouTube is not a legal function. They are a victim of their own wavering between being a publisher and a provider. And they refuse in order to sit there and distinguish it, because each one has their own things. And one of those things is censorship. So this argument is feeding those that actually want to censor you. Is actually giving them the tool in order to actually criminally charge you for having your own opinion, for showing the truth, for actually showing the bullet in flight with the Charlie Kirk shooting and not being shut down for taking that from the news or from another source and analyzing it. These are critical to having an accountable government. And this single action, this one action of narcissism displayed by both sides is going to destroy everything for everybody, and any accountability that we can have.
Going through the process, he filed a DMCA claim, Frauditor responds to it, they're going through the process, and he says this is fair use. Denver Metro Audit says no, it isn't. And then when Frauditor gets his videos reinstated, they mostly got reinstated, Denver Metro Audit says, no, that's not good enough, I'm going to sue you. But he doesn't just sue based on...
Okay, well, the reason why they got reinstated is because there was no legal challenge. There's no legal challenge. There's no actual conflict. And again, this is where the wishy-washy shit, and depending on YouTube to be, the jury, judge, and all that, is not working out. It's not going to work out because they have their own interests.
On fair use. That's not good enough. He sues based on fair use and Section 1201 of the DMCA. Now, where does the law about breaking digital locks have to come in to a YouTube copyright dispute amongst two people who disagree on politics? Well, in order to show the video on screen, Denver Metro Audits is alleging that Frauditor had to download it. And the process of downloading a YouTube video, you may notice on this video there's no download button. And even if you do have a download button because you pay for premium, it's not a real download button. It's this bullshit download button where it only works within the YouTube app and this, that. It's not giving you an MP4 or an MKV file that you can do whatever you want with. It's
All right, let me explain something to you. We have had VHS players for years. This was the same argument that was brought up with the VHS players, and they wanted to license the VHS players for home use. Did you know that? The beta, when we had VHS or beta, blah, blah, blah. Do you realize that they actually tried to make it so the only ones that could actually review that is in real time on live broadcast so they could deny it ever was broadcasted? Do you understand how old this argument really is?
there to control access to the work. Now, there are programs like YTDLP, YouTube Downloader, that are great. This is a lovely program. It decrypts the URL stream and allows you to download a real copy of the video, which I support. I have no problem with people downloading copies of my videos. If YouTube goes away, I don't want the entire fucking collection of everything I've created to be gone. There are some creators on this platform where, like, again, if YouTube, there are videos that have really, really helped me. So if YouTube goes away, I don't want that content to just disappear into the ether because of this law. So YouTube Downloader exists, but because of Section 12.1 of the DMCA, because it is breaking a digital lock, you have to understand that that program that you love, that even if you don't use it, many of the programs you use to download YouTube videos are using it, is technically breaking that law, which means the people making that program could be subject to 3 to 5 years in federal prison if they're doing it in the United States. So after Frauditor's videos get reinstated, he decides, okay, I need a better argument than just that he's not doing fair use argument. And when he sues him, now he starts trying to make the Section 12.1 argument. Claim 4, circumvention of technological protection measures. Mr. Cordova asserts a claim for unlawful circumvention of technological measures in violation of Section 12.1. Defendants argue that the claim should be dismissed on 2 grounds: lack of standing and failure to adequately allege defendants circumvented any technological measure. Section 12.1 prohibits the circumvention of any technological measure that effectively controls access to a protected work. To state a claim for violation of Section 12.1, a plaintiff must plausibly allege that the work at issue was protected under the Copyright Act, the copyrighted work was protected by a technological measure, and the technological measure was circumvented in order to gain access to the copyrighted work. The court first considers defendants' arguments that Mr. Cordova lacks statutory standing to bring a Section 12.1 claim. This lacks merit because they say that Section 12.1 affects anybody that's been injured by this, and Mr. Cordova alleges injury based on defendants' alleged circumvention of technological measures. The court next considers whether Mr. Cordova has adequately pled a claim for violation of Section 12.1. Defendants argue that FAC does not plausibly allege that the videos were protected by a technological measure when published on Mr. Cordova's YouTube channel, or the defendants circumvented any such measure in order to obtain access to the videos. Now, technically, these were protected at the time because you can't download, like, YouTube does this every single video. Every single video uploaded to YouTube. It's not like they make one where it's like, okay, this one will work with even old versions of YouTube Downloader. It's not like that. Google, YouTube, and YouTube Downloader are in constant fights with one another. So Google will fix it so that YouTube Downloader doesn't work. YouTube Downloader will reverse engineer what Google did and make the program work again. Every single video on YouTube is protected by this technological protection measure. I'm not saying I'm defending it. I'm just saying that that's the case. The DMCA defines a technological measure that effectively controls access to a work as a measure in the ordinary course of its operation requires the application or information or process of a treatment with the authority of the copyright owner to gain access to the work. According to the FAC, YouTube automatically applies technological measures to publishing videos that control access to and prevent unauthorized copying or downloading of Mr. Cordova's videos. The FAC alleges that YouTube's technological measures include rolling cipher technology, which is software designed to prevent unauthorized downloading of videos. This technology encrypts and dynamically alters the video stream's URL signatures to prevent unauthorized downloads. Citing MDY Industries, defendants argue that Mr. Cordova's claim fails and YouTube's technological measures do not effectively control access because Mr. Cordova's videos are publicly available on YouTube. Defendants misread MDY Industries. As the Ninth Circuit explained in that decision, the statutory definition of the phrase effectively control access to a work does not require that an access control measure be strong or circumvention proof. Rather, it requires an access control measure provides some degree of control over access to a copyrighted work. Mr. Cordova.
In other words, they're not responsible for the intelligence of a hacker. They made an effort, and this actually came up with Wurlitzer years and years ago when there was a subleaser in my server, and they were renting the space. His name was Joker. I know who he is. I know everything about him. He's one of my friends, and he had leased this space in order to put in how-to instructional hacks that affected Wurlitzer for some of their software. And he had other hacks in there, and Wurlitzer had contacted us and said, well, you got to take that down. As a webmaster, I was supposed to just simply yank it down just simply because they said so. It's like, no. So I put up 3 trespassing signs. Go away if this is not yours. For my eyes only. Press here to leave, press here to enter. And that's all it takes is notice. The only thing it has to do is have the appearance of being locked. It doesn't matter how simple of a lock it is. It doesn't matter if it's just simply a turn of a wrist. If it says locked and it's locked and it's obvious an attempt of locking, you have just broke what? The lock. So whether you do that by software or you do that by intent, it's an intent-driven thing. So this was brought up way back when. We're talking about 98, 99 maybe. Okay, whereas they were getting me in order to take someone else's educational material down, and I refused. And when they sit there and caught me on it, they says, well, we can see the links that you did. You put these signs, but it does not prevent someone from going in there. Neither does hacking, and neither does a no trespassing sign that you just gave me a letter stating that you trespassed in order to find out that you could. Of course you can trespass. But I put up the signs there, and this is a legal effort in order to protect that. There is choices when you post, whether or not it can be mirrored, posted, or otherwise. And if you have not selected that in order for to opt out of that, okay, in its entirety. And then on top of it, I go to Denver Metro, and he gives permission for people in order to use his stuff, except this guy. That doesn't make sense. If you release it, you release it. You do not selectively release it. There are so many holes in this suit, and yet it's going to be allowed to continue because they're going to use this in order to shut down everybody. If you obtained the video, the smoking gun video, of absolute proof of who killed Charlie Kirk, you would then be subject to arrest for acquiring that video. Forget what it shows. That's ill-gotten goods now. You don't get it yet? They're using two narcissists that neither one of them are 100% genuine, in my opinion, in order to establish a precedence that they have been trying for since the invention of the VHS tape.
Over is adequately pled that YouTube applies technological measures, including rolling cipher technology, designed to prevent unauthorized downloading the videos published on this platform that effectively control access to his videos for purposes of Section 1201. Whether the videos may be viewed by the public is immaterial. The FAC refers to technological measures intended to prevent unauthorized downloading of the video. And Denver Metro Audits is technically correct over there. That technology prevents you from being able to download. And the problem is not YouTube preventing you from downloading videos. The problem is that if somebody comes up with something that reverse engineers YouTube's method and just grabs the video, that is punishable by 3 to 5 years in federal prison. What the people...
So, you see, if you did get the smoking gun, you did get that one video that proves everything, you'd go to jail because you acquired that content, which is prior to you discovering what they did. Get it? Got it yet? It's 3 years in prison if this interpretation is allowed.
At YouTube downloader did is math. This law makes math illegal. The math for DCSS, for you to be able to get around the encryption in a DVD, is something that, like, you could put this on a t-shirt. It's insane, the idea that this is illegal. And at some point, I believe the EFF, I think 20, 21 years ago, actually did make a t-shirt, something along the lines of, this shirt is illegal, because it included a math equation on it. According to the FAC, defendants circumvented YouTube's technological measures by using software applications, ripping utilities, or browser extensions specifically designed to bypass YouTube's technological measures.
Now, this has been reframed, and the argument has been reframed since, like I said, the VHS. We have Metallica, we have Napster, we have Game Genie. Game Genie did the same thing on a protected language. The language was owned. The computer language itself was owned by Nintendo. And by altering it, they were actually using the McDonald's language, the Mick language, that they had proprietary rights to. And yet altering that language, using that language, understanding what that language says as a programmer, they tried to make illegal. Access to your own property again. And this has been a repeated process over and over and over again, that this case gives them enough ammunition with a false CIA claim here that reinforces everything that's already been established since the VHS tape. Since cassette tapes were used in order to record FM radio. dating back to the 70s now. They wanted to sit there and make it so you couldn't record. And then they also, instead of doing that, they changed and altered the requirements for broadcasting the music, which was that you voice over certain parts of it. You cannot announce what music you're going to play next. Okay, coming up next is an illegal act on FM radio, because you're giving them a prompt to start recording. These were the arguments in the 70s dealing with the invent of a cassette tape that you can now place in your car and play back without the advertisements, without their narration, without their narrative. This method of control is now justified by this suit, argued in legalese, the same framework as the Game Genie, as Napster, as all these others, trying to sit there and capitalize on your opinion and restrict it. It's the same framework. This is Frauditor Troll, which is apparently out of Canada, making it an international matter, not just a local Colorado versus Colorado. No, no, no. This is actually crossing not only state lines but international lines, pulling all of the laws that are included in Canada into a U.S. decision. Meaning that the hyper-intense royalty mandated censorship that they have in Canada now applies in the U.S. You understand the legalities of what you have initiated?
Welcome back, everybody. In today's video, I have some pretty incredible news because the entered no information against Jason Governor, dropping all charges. The assistant state attorney assigned to the case cited, in fact, that the statute that was used to arrest Gutterman was found unconstitutional based on a federal judge. And additionally, there was no probable cause. And defendants Michael Ruthven and Austin Crosby assisted in the detention. And all prosecution against Jason Gutterman and Benjamin Gutterman has ended without any conviction. The court previously dismissed plaintiff's claim against the city of Lynn Haven, CECF 29. So I guess what in Jones is that a participant in the motion to dismiss.
All right, so he's talking about another auditor, but I thought that was something else. That's all right. We have frauditor arrest. These are or may not be genuine auditors. Okay, and again, we're not auditors. We are compliance check. Okay, we're doing compliance check. We're not there to balance their fucking checkbook unless you're in, well, Wisconsin. So we have a gentleman by the name of Louis Rossman that had brought this to my attention. Now, here's another issue. It was about 6 or 7 years ago, a gentleman by the name of Brian King. Many of you may know him. He's been slobbering around the internet for quite a while. Came out and started a strike war amongst a lot of the auditors. And the reason why that was done, again, it helped our enemies. The people that are genuine, it helped their enemies. Because all of a sudden, you could not sit there and back up somebody. You couldn't mirror somebody that was in a hot issue and back them up so the police could not take their phone and just delete the only copy there. We were backing people up. There was a lot of people, 4 or 5 of us, that were actually mirroring people live in order to protect that. And giving them stages, not just one stage that can be isolated, but 12 stages, 15 stages that they were welcome and we were assisting them on. But after the strike wars, all of a sudden nobody wanted to mirror anybody. Oh, we don't have your back because you might bite us. And this here was started within the troll community that was actually trying to trip us up. And the same people that, you know, have taken advantage of what the earnest people have shown them in order to build their channel to get Howard Stern content and be a exhibitionist rather than an auditor. This ain't right, man. Everything that you pretend in order to sit there and uphold, you're actually destroying here. All right? This argument is devastating.
Today I'm going to follow up on the 2 videos I did on Denver Metro audits suing Frauditor Troll. This video is going to focus on the conduct of his attorney, and I want you to really pay attention to the way this man treats people, and then think about whether or not you think it is a good idea that Section 1201 of the DMCA be used in this way. One of my findings throughout life.
Let me tell you why this is important. We've had crews that actually were recruiting. I bring up Salty Rant. Okay, they went to the border. They were joining the Hemming crew. And it was his initiation in order to go to the border. And when he got there, they put in a false bomb report in which he was beat up. And it turned out to be a real mess because it did track back to a guy with a cowboy hat that was associated with Hemming that actually originated the call. Meaning that there's groups of people out there supported by a lawyer that are going out and deliberately creating a conflict in order to be able to sue later. This is entrapment. This is ambulance chasing. And now it's exposed. And this lawyer, this DMA lawyer, is actually going out and soliciting and openly said, well, the reason why I want this is because I want to be the #1 guy that these guys come to, and he's openly soliciting for clients. Listen to this.
Is that when you have abusive laws, you have abusive rules in place, it tends to be the biggest pieces of shit that have the worst possible behavior that ends up being the people that use this as an excuse to bully other people. And I'm finding that to be the case the more I look into this. Many people have suggested that I look into the personalities involved, and I don't think that they meant me looking into the lawyer. I think they meant me looking into Denver Metro Audits, who's doing the lawsuit, or the defendant, Frauditor Troll. But I'm really interested in the lawyer. And the reason I'm interested in the lawyer is because it is the lawyer that has power. What can a YouTuber at the end of the day do to you that has a couple of thousand views per video? Not much. What a lawyer can do is massively fuck up your life. There are people that have tried to sue me because they didn't like what I had to say. And when you're dealing with a lawyer, as the person who is dealing with Deep Cycle Systems batteries can tell you, or anybody else on this channel I've discussed their lawsuits, it's very easy to get caught up spending $40,000 to $150,000 to defend yourself. And even if you win,
I won't spend a dime. I don't have a dime to give. And I have no dime to be sued for. 3 major flags for a lawyer to be fucking with me. But I tell you what, I'm not afraid of you. DMCA lawyer, I'm not afraid of you. Okay? You have fucked up. And whatever woke lawyer thing that you're involved with in California, it's not going to fly. This goes true going the other way. Okay? Now, Merb already commented on this. The fact that your bar, you'd have to have standing to make a complaint, and they just really don't have much in California or New York, and he's talking about the differences between the bar and this, that, and the other. No, there's a point when these Essex things become criminal. And there's laws in all 50 states. We're not talking about the bar. Now, I got a question for you. There was 2,500 arrests for people that were holding crayon-colored signs in Ferguson. That was all stamped out with a single swing of the gavel. 2,500 arrests. It only took 8 people to go to the FBI and file a complaint to have that happen. That was the result of it. What happens if those 2,500 people dropped their crayon-colored signs that no judge could ever sign in their lives? Not a legal document, nothing it's doing. You're showing it to a flatfoot that just wonders whether or not he's going to have eggs in the morning, or if it's just going to be oatmeal again that his wife gives him. And he has no power over that, let alone what you want to bitch about. What happens if 2,500 people showed up at the FBI office in order to give a complaint and drop the colored signs? The crayons, leave them home. Show up in a suit. Show up like you're going to court. What are you doing here? Well, I'm here to file a complaint. There's no way they can shut the door. That's 18 U.S.C. 1505 and 1512. That's big, huge. You don't know. You don't understand. They cannot block your complaint when you're there to report. If 8 people can affect 2,500 arrests, I'm sure the auditing community can affect 1 lawyer.
And you then have to countersue for damages. You will have to collect. It is a painful process, and many people simply do not have the $400 to $1,200 an hour to pay for an attorney to fight a frivolous lawsuit. So if an attorney is acting in bad faith, they can just say, I'm going to file lawsuits against people that I know don't have the money to defend themselves, and bully them. You can essentially get them to either submit, or I'm just going to force you to court. I see this to be a very distasteful thing to do. So the first thing I need to say before I get into anything else in this video is that I do not disrespect the concept of First Amendment auditing. I think it's a very important thing to do. I have been kicked out of legislative hearings before when I show up with my camera to record these rights to repair hearings and to show you what lobbyists say, because I don't have a press pass. I've done many videos in this channel where I show up to legislatures with my camera. I talk to the senators, the assemblymen, the representatives, and I tell them why right to repair is important, and I also try to debunk the lobbyist bullshit. The lobbyists will say things like, Lewis is going to install TikTok on your phone, and it's going to spy on you, and it's the manufacturer that's been installing TikTok to begin with that you represent. Or they say that magtrometers and microwaves will explode when magtrometer is not even a part that's in a microwave. And they'll say that I need a press pass in order to record. Somebody from my audience actually made me a press pass just in case that happens again 6 years ago. Shout out to whoever made this. Or there will be lobbyists that will say that I harassed them or that I violated their privacy by showing up to a public legislative hearing with my camera in a government building and recording what they said at the public hearing. That's not harassment. That's not an invasion of privacy. There's no expectation of privacy in a public legislative hearing. You just don't like the fact that I recorded you lying, and hundreds of thousands of people are now going to see it that you're not used to having listened to your BS or call you on it. So First Amendment auditing is very important. But unfortunately, with everything in life, there are bad apples that get into everything. So I was going over this lawsuit in a recent video that I did where Denver Metro Audits sued Fraud or Troll, and he was saying, listen, the way you use my video is not fair use. So Fraud or Troll uploaded a video that included a lot of Denver Metro Audits' content in it, and he made remarks and criticism on that video. Denver Metro Audits filed a strike on that video saying this is not fair use. You use way too much of my content. Fraud or Troll defended himself, counter-claimed, and actually won. I want you to think about this for a moment. YouTube is a platform where it constantly, willy-nilly gets it wrong and always enforces the strike, even when it's incorrect. And here, a channel that's 1/3 or 1/5 the size of the channel making the strike, that's much less authoritative, actually won. I want you to think about this for a moment. This is kind of like if Tim Cook walked up to me and said, by the way, Lewis, we're going to come out with a new MacBook in a few months. Here's all the schematics and a USB for it. This is a cold day in hell. This type of thing just doesn't happen. So they filed a lawsuit saying that this is not fair use. The infringing video does not qualify as a protected fair use. It consists predominantly of the plaintiff's copyrighted content or played in long and unscripted sequences. Defendant's minimal additions, less than 4 minutes of sarcastic narration, do not meaningfully critique the registered video or transform its message. If this was just a fair use complaint, I would not compare. I might think of it as a little bit petty, but it wouldn't be something that rises to me doing a video or really caring about it. This is just like a petty squabble or dispute. The reason that this bothers me is because they added something to this. Now, I'm guessing that when they saw, wow, even YouTube thinks this is fair use, we're going to have to do something before we can actually sue this guy, is they added a Section 1201 section to it. Section 1201 of the DMCA is a law that says it is illegal to break a digital lock. It is a law that I've been against for a long period of time. This law has a lot of horrible consequences. It has been used to have the FBI arrest or raid people that make a piece of software that removes DRM from an ebook, so you can use it in a different ebook reader. This law has resulted in a company that makes garage door openers getting caught up in it. This law has resulted in companies that make aftermarket ink cartridges getting in trouble. There are some printer companies that think that you should have to buy ink from them, and as Cory Doctorow says, when you look at oil, insulin, anything else, color printer ink in the United States is literally the most expensive liquid that you can get by the gallon. Many printer companies think that you should only be able to buy the ink from them, and they'll put these technological protection measures into their printers. And this law is so poorly written that they were actually able to bring suit against companies making aftermarket ink cartridges. It has also been brought against somebody who was making homebrew Xbox software. And the judge thought this was so ridiculous, they said, I don't really even understand what we're doing here. They slammed everything that they did. This law is why farmers can't fix their own tractors. This law is also been used for programs that you may use. It is why YouTube Revanced and Spotify Revanced are illegal. It is why YouTube Downloader is illegal. And the people who made YouTube Downloader can be in federal prison for up to 3 to 5 years. And this is a very unique law because the law does not criminalize the behavior or the conduct. It criminalizes the tool. So to give the best analogy I can give here from a Second Amendment point of view, instead of criminalizing the action of shooting my neighbor, they're criminalizing the action of having a gun. But not just necessarily having a gun, making a gun, or even showing somebody how to do that. So California is not known as a very pro-Second Amendment state. But imagine if the CEO of Glock walked through San Francisco and was arrested simply because he has facilitated the creation of a gun somewhere else. That is what Section 1201 of the DMCA does to technology. It is a horrible, horrible law, because even if I were to use the YouTube downloader to download a State of the Union address that was recorded on a public news network, not just have I done something illegal, but the people who created the tool have done something illegal. Even if I never use that tool to break the law or pirate anything, this law criminalizes the tool rather than the action, which is why I find it to be insane. Let's say you have a developer of an exercise bike, and that exercise bike works with third-party software, and then they say, LOLJK, after you bought it, it's only going to work with our software, and by the way, our software has a cloud subscription fee. I believe that if you bought the product, that you own it, and you should be able to use that the way you did when you purchased the product, and that you should not be breaking the law to do it. So our nonprofit has been focused on getting people to bypass these technical protection measures and give people back access to what they bought and paid for. This gentleman found a solution, and he did not share a solution because he doesn't want to go to federal prison for 3 to 5 years, and I don't blame him. Now, one of the things that I brought up earlier is that when you have these types of horribly abusive laws, the people that gravitate to them tend to be the people that are, in my opinion, the biggest pieces of shit in society. When you have laws that allow you to abuse people, that give you power over others in this way, to take away their freedom in any way, shape, or form, that it often winds up getting used in the worst possible way. So I decided to look a little bit into this attorney. I wanted to look at how he talks to people, how he conducts himself, and see if I was correct in making that assumption. And I listened to a little bit more of that stream where he was talking about fair use, and here's what I got.
If you want to discuss it here on the panel, but that's up to Paul. And what's the big deal about that?
Well, you talk a lot of shit from your mommy's basement. It turns out you're like some fucking loser.
How does that make me a loser?
Well, you make it seem like you're some big fucking stud and you're a fucking loser, can't even afford a new wheelchair. True? True or not?
No, that's not true.
I have a good friend, Thomas Daniel Queter. He started a nonprofit called Mobility Independence Foundation. He wasn't able to afford a wheelchair either at one point in his life. It's really difficult to get a job when you can't go outside. It's hard to go outside when you don't have legs. It's hard to afford a wheelchair when you don't have a job. And more importantly, it's really difficult to get one when the state of New York is arguing with you for 3 to 4 years, telling you that you have legs when you don't. You have no fucking idea what people that live in wheelchairs go through. And you sit there as this fucking fancy-ass lawyer, bragging, talking down to people like this, laughing at people that have less money than you. You're my personal project now. I know you can feel that right through your suit. You had this little comment up earlier saying, look how informed Lewis is. Then I made this post.
Well, that makes 2 of us. I've worked 4 months based on a lot of the software you're referring to that would put me in jail. I'm not using it illegally. The potential for it to be used illegally is there. Just like a knife, just like your fist, just like your car, just like a gun. They have no right to that. They simply have no right to those things.
I'm coming for you. Just like I came for another person that likes spending a lot of their time in Southeast Asia and bullying people. You changed your post to this. Let's just establish that this never had anything to do with fair use.
What does Randy get if he wins? Well, apparently he gets clout in the auditing community because everybody's going to be rushing to hire him and sue the shit out of everybody. That's what he's hoping for. Isn't that right, Randy?
Yes, that is right.
Okay, well.
And if we win, your little buddy Prodigal really screwed all of you because then I can get to sue everyone for using ripping software.
Ripping software?
Even without regard to fair use. If you have videos on your channel that are from someone else, beware.
This is not about...
So that means that if he can sue them, that means that you can be criminally charged. This is something I've been trying to get out there. This is something that you need to pay attention to right now. This is Charlie Kirk shooting. And if you slow it down, there's no blood in this. To be in possession of this would be illegal under the interpretation they want to create here. And yet, it's important that these things be available to the public so these things are found. Let me see here. Let's refresh. Come on. There we go.
Mouse.
Please do not be alarmed by anything you see or hear around.
Let me reload that. It's not loading right. It's not going to. YouTube's had a lot of problems lately. Home pages not showing up, partial, the text not showing up. YouTube has been under a lot of stress. Yep. So, at any rate, let's go back to what I was playing here.
Fair use. This has nothing to do with how much of somebody's YouTube video they used on their channel or whether it's fair use. When you invoke Section 12.1 of the DMCA, what you're saying is you had to break a technical protection measure in order to grab that video from YouTube, because YouTube has a technical protection measure, to then put it into your video editing software to put it inside of your video. So even if what you did is 100% fair use, I still have standing and the ability to sue you. Beware. And he goes out of his way to sound like the cartoon villain that he is and put his mouth closer to the microphone to sound more ominous and then says, beware. So is it safe to say at this point that this guy does not care about fair use and that this is more about having the ability to willy-nilly take videos down from other people's channels and extort those channels if he sees fit to? I'm just going to put that on the table for a moment, that this is no longer about fair use. And I'm not going to use the words fair use anymore, because that's not what any of this is about. It's about establishing a precedent that allows you to go after YouTube channels that have ever had React content in their videos. Let's continue on here to my second assertion that I'm going to make. I'm going to make the assertion that on average, people that are the type of people that are going to sue you because you used too much of their video in your video are the type of people that are more pedantic. They're the type of people that that follow the letter of the law more closely. And I'm not going to be mad at you for following the letter of the law more closely, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold you to the standard that you're trying to hold other people to. Because that's something that I learned in the video that I did on BWE. He's another guy that likes to travel Southeast Asia. It's important that I not hold people to my standard, but rather I hold them to the standard they held other people to. He was saying that he was not the person that I was accusing him of, and I am a privacy advocate, so I never asked him for his ID. But after he accused me numerous times of lying, I asked for his fucking ID. He never showed it. You are holding people to the exact letter of the law when it comes to fair use. We are suing you because you use too much of this content in this video. I'm going to start holding you to the standard that you're holding others to. Let's see how you like it. I'm going to establish who this person is. And as I'm going through this entire process, there's two questions I want you to keep in the back of your head. Number one, if this man is willing to get people in trouble for using screen capture software and using 1 minute or 2 minutes extra of somebody's video simply because the letter of the law says so, should he also be held to the same standard? Should he be held to the letter of the law? Secondly, do you think somebody that behaves in this way is a person that should have power over others? I want that question to be in the back of your head every time I go through something that he's done. Let's establish who he is. The attorney is Randall Scott Newman. This is his address, 99 Wall Street. RandallNewman.net is his website, and his California State Bar number is 190547, as confirmed on the State Bar of California's website, as well as the New York State Bar's website. This is also on his LinkedIn, the same website, RandallNewman.net. When you go to RandallNewman.net, you'll see the DMCA lawyer, and you will see this link to his YouTube channel over here. When you go to the YouTube channel, it has the exact same logo. So this is him. Now let's see how it is he discusses things. Let's see how he engages with people when talking about cases, when in the Discord where all these people that are involved in this are talking. And I will leave a link to that Discord down below. That piece of shit started with me, and he's truly a miserable fuck. So I don't feel bad. I didn't threaten him. I suggested his family would be happier if he killed himself, which is probably true. I'm just stating the obvious. Stop! I don't want to know more. I wasn't wrong. I secretly wish bone cancer on him and his family as well. Here, there's a message that's being quoted, and the message that's being quoted is a message that wasn't screenshot in time, where he's suggesting somebody else kill themselves. Someone says, "Hey, not okay, man. This can get it's a Discord report." Randall Scott Newman. Everyone will be happier. Just in case you're not sure what he's referring to, one of the things about these people, and I also said that about BWE, is that they tend to believe they'll never get in trouble for anything they do. So even though the message got deleted, he is going to probably say it again. Pardon me, what's the problem? It's gone now. Don't tell people to do that. It's a violation. Violation of what? This is Fight Zone. I didn't threaten him. I offered him a suggestion to end his miserable existence. Unfortunately, I doubt he would take my advice. Yeah, don't do that. The server can get reported for that. Do you have a screenshot of me telling Laura to kill himself? I may get disbarred. LOL. Let's talk about what could potentially get you disbarred in a moment. What kind of moron thinks you win a lawsuit in 6 months? There's still time loser if you know what I mean. And just in case you don't know what he means, he also posts a meme of somebody hanging themselves. Sounds like a lovely guy. Let's take a look.
Okay, so there's a couple of things there. Do you want this lawyer around? Does this sound like a good person that is wielding the balance of justice in our system? This guy's just out for guts and glory, man. All he wants is the warfare.
Look at what the laws are in these particular jurisdictions where he practices. In New York, a lawyer or law firm should not engage in illegal conduct that adversely reflects on the lawyer's honesty, trustworthiness, or fitness as a lawyer. I would suggest that suggesting people kill themselves is not fit. Encouraging suicide may constitute a criminal offense under New York Penal Law Section 120.30, which provides that a person is guilty of promoting a suicide attempt when he intentionally causes or aids another person to attempt suicide. A lawyer or law firm shall not engage in conduct that is prejudicial to the administration of justice, and a lawyer or law firm shall not engage in any other conduct that adversely reflects on the lawyer's fitness as a lawyer. Let's go to the state of California. In California, they're a little bit stricter on this regard. The commission of any act regarding moral turpitude, dishonesty, or corruption, whether the act is committed in the course of his relations as an attorney or otherwise, and whether the act is a felony or misdemeanor or not, constitutes a clause for disbarment or suspension. If the act constitutes a felony or misdemeanor, conviction thereof in a criminal proceeding is not a condition precedent to disbarment or suspension from practice, therefore. Did he commit a felony?
Okay, here's one problem. Louis Rossman is not the victim of that attack. He has no standing, so therefore his complaint, because he wasn't a client and he wasn't an opposing county or counsel, doesn't have any standing. It's just carrying on in public that you have to put up with. That's what this lawyer believes. So
any person who deliberately aids, advises, or encourages another person to commit suicide is guilty of a felony in the state of California. Aids, advises, or encourages another to commit suicide is guilty of a felony. And he's doing this to people that he's suing. It's over where they all talk. Now again, I could hear people screaming in my comments. What about those 4chan people in your comment section that say Lewis drink bleach that have a picture of bleach in their profile picture? And again, one of the reasons that I'm applying a different standard here than I do in my comment section, the 14-year-old people that show up in the YouTube comment section are harmless. They can't hurt me. They can't sue me. They can't bring legal action against me that will then result in me having to spend tens of thousands of dollars. And above all, they are not holding other people to the same standard. If you want to hold people to the standard of the law, you can only use 20 seconds of the clip, not 30, or it's not fair use. Then you're not allowed to break the law that says you're not allowed to encourage people to fucking kill themselves if you're a lawyer. I think we should hold you to that same standard. I'm going to include all this down below. Next up, contacting somebody who is represented by a lawyer that you know to be represented by a lawyer with a third party. So if you're a lawyer and you are suing somebody, you cannot contact them through some sort of random, unrelated third party. I'll read you the rule. In representing a client, a lawyer shall not communicate or cause another to communicate about the subject of the representation with a party the lawyer knows to be represented by another lawyer in the matter, unless the lawyer has had the prior consent of the other lawyer or is authorized to do so. In California, it says in representing a client, a lawyer shall not communicate directly or indirectly about the subject of the representation with a person the lawyer knows to be represented by another lawyer in the matter, unless the lawyer has the consent of the other lawyer. The whole point of this is to prevent some sort of fuckery where you're able to get something that you can use against the person you're suing out of somebody by tricking them into talking without their lawyer. And that is there for a very good reason. Now, if you take a look, this has been broken several times. In this exhibit, there's a gentleman named Peter Coventry who is friends with Frauditor Troll. And he was asking him, can you ask him what he means when he said the 1,700 videos are gone forever? Did he retain the videos and the data? And Peter Coventry says they're gone, just as so clearly in the live stream, really for reasons I can't disclose without violating confidentiality. So he is trying, DMCA lawyer over here, is trying to extract information about the person he is suing from somebody else rather than going to the lawyer. Can you ask him what he means about that? He's not saying, what is your knowledge of this? He's trying to trick this guy into believing that he's talking to his friend when in reality he's talking to the lawyer that is actively suing him. This is absolutely fucking disgusting. This is the type of behavior that can get you disciplined and disbarred.
And it all started over two people that can't fucking change their own diaper. That's what it boils down to. Now you guys need to get your S together. You need to bury the BS. Because you have such a popular critic, appreciate it. You weren't doing a job to begin with that somebody would object to, then you're not doing your job, are you? But being a successful critic is not something that you're entitled to get his profit. This has been Beware Mouse. Thank you for tuning in. Think about it. You all just sitting there killing each other. And you're killing the rest of us with you. May your God be with you. Goodbye.
Falling out and falling in. Tribal marks still stain my skin. Caught by wars I didn't choose. Still standing here, nothing to lose. Oh, they wanna fight but have no right. Played their games in borrowed light. Now the fire calls their name, and I watch them walk in flames. No more lies, no more truth, just the lies they lead for what it's worth. No more change, no more youth, just the echoes of their hollow words. Every scar tells where I've been. Not a victim, not a sin. Took their venom, let it bleed. Now I rise, now I breathe. They wrote the script, they made the rules. Now they burn inside their fool's parade. I let them go, I cut the thread. No more ghosts inside my head. No more lies, no more truth, just the lies they lead for what it's worth. No more change, no more youth, just the echoes of their hollow words. They wrote the script, they made the rules. Now they burn inside their fool's parade. I let them go, I cut the thread. No more ghosts inside my head. No more waves, no more cries, just the ashes left behind. Let them fall, let them fade. I got nothing left to say. No more walling out and falling in. Tribal marks still stain my skin. Alone they walk into the fire. Truth and lies both expired.
All right. Have a good day. And may your God